Greetings. Good dawning. Ikaro. Marhaban. Good dawning, everybody. Welcome to the community show. Uh, I know this is probably a surprise for some of you. I didn't announce this on Friday's show about the new hours, but we decided to start it this strong. So we are testing some new hours to see if we can kind of, get those of you in that can't get to the shows, from 1 to 3 on Tuesday and Thursday. So now we're going to start mixing it up a little bit and trying to, so we can expand the audience and get your calls in. So the new schedule that we're testing out will be on Mondays. We're going to be airing from 7 to 9 in the dawning. On Tuesdays and Thursdays are still going to stay the same from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. But Wednesday, we're going to air from 9 to 11 o'clock. So we'll get you in the afternoon. So by then, maybe everybody is settled in from work, dinner's over, everybody's kind of situated. So that ought to be pretty good. And on Friday, again, from 7 to 9 a.m. So Monday and Friday, we're going to be in the dawning. Wednesday at night, and Tuesday and Thursday we'll be here at our regular time. So I know that we probably won't have that many people to call in today because I know it's a shocking and it's a new time, but I'm still here, so we'll get the dawning started. Whether you are getting dressed to go to work, just making your coffee or tea, chilling out. Maybe you're retired. I don't know, but we're going to help you get your day started today. I've got a few topics in line, and before I get started, I'm going to take a quick commercial just and wake everybody up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I know it's early, but it's time to get up and get the day going. All right, so I'll be right back. Have you ever started to prepare for a ritual and either didn't know the herbs it called for or couldn't find them anywhere close to where you live? You may be close to a botanica where you can find some of these herbs, but what if you're not? When dealing with rituals and magic, most of the rituals we find in books and online come from much older rituals where the environment was very different than the one we live in now. The names of those herbs are even different, and they may not be native to your location. The people that came up with those rituals were experimenting with the herbs they had access to. As a budding practitioner of magic, you should be able to do the same. How can you tell what herbs in your area are good for certain illnesses and imbalances? What's the difference between male and female herbs? If you had to gather herbs from your backyard for a cleansing ritual, for example, would you know which ones to pick? The Herb Magic class-based webinar covers these questions and more. If you're trying to expand your knowledge of herbs, make sure you sign up at saduluhouse.com/store. All right, welcome back to Community Radio. I know everybody's a little shocked maybe that the show is airing so early this dawning, but on Mondays and Fridays for a little while we're going to test the audience and see if this time works a little bit better for a lot of you. I know sometimes we can't get callers in. You want to comment, and so, usually between 1 and 3, a lot of people are at work and they can't, call in. So we tried to include you all and get you in a little bit earlier on Monday and Friday. And of course, on Wednesday, we'll be from 9 to 11 on Wednesday at night. So then we'll be able to catch you in the afternoon where things have calmed down a bit and you've gotten a handle on your day. So we'll test these hours out and see how it goes. Again, I'm your host, Kim, and we're back with another segment of Community Radio. So I just thought I'd play that music to get everybody going, to wake you up, to give you a little jolt. That song always gets me moving. So, and it has an excellent message in the song. So I just wanted to play that. But today is Monday, or Moon Day, in other words. And this is also Ojo Ajay. And so that would be Monday according to the Yoruba calendar. And so Monday is usually a good time for finances and money. So, as you know, in the Yoruba language, Aj means, I think, about three different things. Aj is an energy that you can work with, and it's, the goddess of wealth. It also means money and commerce. And of course, we know about the Aj, the witches. So all these things are connected. I find it very interesting. And Monday is also a day that, since we're talking about money and wealth and all of this, Olokun and Yemoja are good energies to work with on these days. Also, I would probably throw in Oya as well, since she is an energy of the marketplace. I think it's Oya, yeah. And so, just to do a quick little breakdown of just the energy of the day. So we have Ojo Aj today. Today's Monday. We're talking about money and manifesting and finances. Also, if we go to the astrology, which I know a lot of people are interested in, we have the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Sagittarius. So this is a really good time for abstract thoughts and getting deeper into maybe analytical thought, spiritual, deep spiritual thought. It's a good time for meditation and dream work, especially during the hours of between, I would probably say 3 and 5. Seems like 3, 4 o'clock, you start to get those interesting dreams. So dream work, meditation, anything that kind of gets you in the space where you can kind of explore, abstract thought. When you think of Aquarius, you think of people who are very, aside from being contrary just to be contrary or just anti, they are very inventive, so they think a lot. These are usually people who have, who are just always thinking about, I would say, I guess I would say abstract things, deep spiritual things, you know what I mean? So, and with the moon being in Sagittarius, it's like this kind of free-spirited, kooky, airy, I don't say airy fairy, but kind of just weird, just wild, kind of weird energy. So it's or just kind of zany, I guess you could say. So this is a good time for meditation, dream work, and just to kind of go all out and just be all out, about it. I don't know why, but that song, "The Freaks Come Out at Night," just came to mind. So it's kind of like that. It's like, the weird hippy dippy. It's like a weird hippy dippy kind of time. I'd probably say from Sunday to Tuesday. We've got the sun in Aquarius and moon in Sagittarius. So I just thought I'd throw that in there because, thinking about, just getting your day started. A lot of people watch the news, or they may pick up the newspaper. And these are some of the sections we might skip to. Like you skip to the horoscopes, you try to see what's going on for the day, what's going on in history for the day. Also, when you do the numerology breakdown, we have 1/23/2017. And so we get the number 7. And so when I think of the number 7, I think about, again, this coupling or coupling between the earth and, the physical earth and the soul world or the spirit world. Because when I think of earth, I think of the number 4, which, we have the 4 corners of the earth, and we got the Aj again, talk about the 4 witches. And then when we think about the spiritual world or the soul world, we talked about it from the 2017 breakdown, the chief did. And we got the number 3. So when we get 4 and 3 together, of course, we get 7. So again, it's like this masculine and feminine energy coming together, which is why it is a good time for manifestation, and making and bringing things into fruition. So if you are about money, Today is a good day to do some money work or some money rituals. Some good money herbs or oils would be rue, cinnamon, ginger, clove, peppermint, pine. Those are some good herbs to work with if you want to, get your day started by, when you do your offerings, your daily offerings and everything, start your money shrine, and these might be some herbs that you want to burn on your shrine, or you can even get those oil burners, make your own rue oil or cinnamon oil, clove, whatever, and burn the oil, in your little oil burner there. So that's a shrine that we should all have too, by the way, is a money shrine where we work with those energies. We got Ajay Shaluga, and just, the Ajay in general. But we've got, a few wealth energies to work with. All right, so that's that. Let's see, what else has we got going on? So I did catch a little bit of the show yesterday that she speaks, and we're speaking again about the womb and and this feminine energy. And so again, we're talking about today on Moon Day, which is a feminine energy. Has to do a lot with emotions and things like that. We had the Women's March on Saturday, and this is something that I just found out about too. I think Chief said it in the show, he just found out about it. But I did have a friend that participated in that, and that happened on Saturday. And so they estimated they had about almost like 500,000 people there. So that was interesting. I haven't seen any footage or anything from it just yet, but I've just seen a few clips and everything. So that happened on Saturday. So I can't wait to do just a little bit more research into it to figure out, who presented, who spoke, what the topics were. We also have today, maybe a regular work day for everybody else, but today is Trump's first day in office. First work day in office today. That a lot of people aren't too happy about. We talked about this on a previous show, just about how a lot of I would say people call them minorities in the United States, but they're actually the majority. But minorities in the United States who are so against Trump being elected president. And it's been, a pretty emotional thing for everybody. So much so that I found out that BET and TV One, and I have to read what was written because it was so shocking to me. It says Black Entertainment Television and TV One, the major African American oriented networks, provided a much needed service on Election Day by providing a sympathetic outlet for their stunned viewers to process Donald Trump's presidential victory. But on Inauguration Day, both took a pass. And there was a statement that was issued that says, our viewers are far more emotionally moved by the exit of the Obamas, so we spent time celebrating them with programming on their last full day in Washington. This is Jamie Owens, a spokesperson for BET, and they told that they sent out this message, and they said, during the inauguration ceremony, BET showed a teen movie, Love Don't Cost a Thing. And when I read this, I just thought, oh my gosh. And then continuing on with the article, they said that Telemundo actually, and other networks, so-called minority networks, aired it. Univision, Telemundo, they watched the inauguration. And so the article talked about just some of the things that, they missed in doing this. But I just thought it was so interesting that the two black networks took a pass on Inauguration Day because black people, or African Americans, they needed a sympathetic outlet. and because they were because they were emotional. And this is what we talk about so many times with African Americans or whatever in the United States. We're an emotional people, not a people of memory. We don't, necessarily take action, past the length of our attention span when it comes to these topics. But when I read this, I just thought, wow, because we're emotional, now we're just going to kind of stick our heads in the sand and ignore Inauguration Day, when it's airing everywhere else. So they took a break and watched a teen movie, Love Don't Cost a Thing. So again, we're being, put to sleep. And instead of watching the inauguration, like they said, they, not the inauguration, but on Election Day, they reminisced about the good old days with Obama. As if the days were that great. We had the most police killings, not beatings, not harassments, but killings, like in the past few years than anybody can probably ever think of. It's just been ridiculous. So much turmoil for African Americans in this country, during Obama's presidency, but nobody is, paying attention to any of that. So we had they needed their sympathetic outlets, instead of watching the election or participating in any of that, and just kind of reminisced. And we got everybody's emotional testimony about Obama and how they felt about Obama and how they felt about him leaving. So I don't know, you all tell me. I just thought this was so interesting and just really kind of sad to know that every other network is airing this except for the black ones. Well, I can't even say black. Let me say African American. Except for the African American networks. We had to be entertained and with the teen movie, and just kind of left to ourselves to kind of cry over everything that has taken place. We needed that time to cry or to be emotional and everything, like they said. I don't know. That to me, like I said, that was just so shocking and so amazing. On in other news, Stacey Dash has been fired from Fox, or her contract has not been renewed. Let's put it that way. And Trump, which is somebody that she openly supported, I think he tweeted out something crazy like, they made a good decision in doing this. Interesting because, she took a lot of backlash for, just talking crazy on Fox, about African American issues and things like that. So she was kind of looked at as a sellout, but on the number one sellout news outlet. But her contract is not being renewed. So that's interesting. Other topics, we've got Uber. They said that Uber is going to pay $20 million to settle a lawsuit with the Federal Trade Commission for misleading drivers about how much they could earn in driving an Uber or drive with the driving service. This is something I've never tried because where I live, I'm not even sure if we have Uber, to be honest. I know we don't probably in our in the city where I live, but major cities closer to us may have Uber. I'm not sure, so I've never tried it. But I do know a couple of people that have signed up to do this, and so I don't know if they're listening. Maybe they'll give us their take on it. But I thought that was interesting. They were making promises that they could, Uber drivers could earn, like about like 90,000 or something like that for for driving Uber, and kind of prove that only about maybe 10% of the people actually make this much money. And who knows what those hours are? I'm not sure, but I don't know. I thought it was a really interesting service when it first launched. Seemed like it was a good idea, but I remember also hearing a lot of horror stories about Uber. People being robbed, Uber drivers being attacked. It had a lot of interesting stories about Ubers, but that's going on. So they kind of misled people into thinking they could make more money than they could. But again, I don't have much knowledge of Uber or that particular service, so I don't know. If you have a comment about it, feel free to call in. Again, the number to call is 515-605-9862. Just press the number 1 and I'll bring you in. You can make your comments or you can bring up any topic that you would like to discuss. All right. Also, we can go ahead and kind of get into this dawning's topic a little bit. Something I was thinking about just with the whole, BET and TV One thing, not airing certain news, or it made me think about young people, or the younger generation, and how just thinking about how they feel about everything that's going on. And something that I found out was that there's a movement called Members of the Million Hoodies Members of the Million Hoodies Movement for Justice is the name of the movement. And this group is, I find it interesting because, a lot of times, the whole hoodie thing, started with Trayvon Martin. And that, and everything that went on with that when Trayvon Martin was shot and killed. And so, back then everybody started wearing hoodies. That was the thing to do. That was your way of protest, not actually doing much of anything, but just buying a hoodie and wearing a hoodie. And everybody was taking pictures of themselves in their hoodies and putting them on Facebook or different social media outlets. And that's about as far as that went. So now this movement has extended it. And now they are including another cause to this in response. They say this in response to the media's to injustice against. They say this is the words they use, and I find this interesting. They run campaigns to push back against the anti-Black racism and the criminalization of our communities. Is another thing that they do. These are some of the things that they do. Develop leadership of students and young people to build local power, to transform our communities from violence and criminalization, and educate the members and the public on the critical issues facing our communities. So they've started this, and they issued like a quick little commercial or whatever, just in protest against Trump. A lot of young people are feeling very scared and anxious about just some of Trump's ideas and some of the things that he promotes. And so this movement has kind of, shifted their energy to, I guess, awareness about this. And so they've taken the whole hoodies thing, and now they have this. So they actually have, like a website and everything. I think they've got about 8 chapters, 150 members so far. And they've laid things out pretty good. So this is something new. Like I just found out about this. So you may want to check it out, Million Hoodies Movement for Justice. But it made me think about young people and how we have to snatch them up, as Chief says. You know, this whole thing can get very convoluted real quick. You know, we went from the hoodie protest with Trayvon Martin to now we're using hoodies for, they've blended a few causes. It's not just what they said, what do they say, anti-black racism. I don't know, something about just pairing those, you know, combining those words to me, just, I don't know, I don't know, maybe it's the way I'm translating it, but sounds a bit off. But moving these, in all these movements, I'm listening to some of the things that they were talking about in the video and some of the things that they want, and they include a wide array of so-called rights or fighting for injustices. You know, and again, you know, they're throwing around, you know, a lot of people throw around that word our community. And so I was just wondering, you know, who is us? Who is, what is our community? You know, so I think those are some questions that are good to ask if you are a young person that's involved in that. But it made me think about just grabbing our young people and really getting serious about what's going on so that your children aren't sucked into different ideologies and everything. It's very easy to do that now, you know, with social media and everything, because and for the most part, a lot of people don't research how the organizations got started, who are some of the people that fund it and that back it, what are the real sentiments behind some of the motives of the movement. You know, it just becomes like a trendy thing. Nobody's really looking at that. You know, people just, you know, oh, million hoodies, let me just grab a cute hoodie and, you know, take a picture, put it on Facebook, put it on Snapchat, say I'm down, you know, for the cause, or, you know, racist, you know, just make some comment. It just becomes a very watered down kind of fashion type thing. You know, it has no substance. And I remember the other day on the show, we had a caller that called in, Sister Janetta called in, and she asked me about including children, like in your new spiritual training. And she asked me, you know, about a statement I made when I was saying that my daughter did some of the, you know, she was working through some of the exercises. And she asked me if it was a good idea. And I, of course, I said yes, you know. And one of the reasons why I said that she's in it is because she has no choice. I'm not going to be the only one, you know. Well, I'll say it this way. If she's a part, she is included in this family. So if this is what the family does, that's what you're going to do. When you become an adult, you can do whatever you want to do. You can practice whatever tradition you would like to practice. But I have to give her a foundation. You know what I mean? So she's going to do whatever it is we do. And this is sometimes how we kind of lose our children. You know, we kind of leave them to social media, TV, and entertainment or entertainment, and or the public school system, and just kind of let them mold and shape our children and teach them about what's important and what's not. And then get upset about it. You know, I was also talking about all the recent school closings that we have here and how a lot of people have been protesting about the school shutting down. But nobody's looking at it as an opportunity to start their own school, you know, to be able to control the curriculum themselves, because these were some of the same people that were complaining about what the kids were learning in school and who the teachers are. Are the teachers certified? Are they not? Are they this? You know, it was just always something going on, you know, with schools and everything that's involved. So I think that the more upsetting thing to the parents is that they're losing a babysitter, to be honest. Because most of the time, you know, everybody works, so they don't have the time. But, you know, this is a huge problem. I don't think that they see that this is an opportunity to actually uh, grab your child and raise or rear your child the way you would desire them to be reared, instead of having somebody else putting ideas into your children. You have that opportunity now. And, school closings have been going on, I think, just across the country, because you don't have a lot of people going into education anymore. Most of the people that are everybody's kind of going into a tech field, or even just finding other ways to make money. People can start websites. You can start, you can have your own app, sell your app. It's so many other ways to earn money now that no one is really going into education. And that's something that I think the educational system needs to look at, is that it's really just not financially worth it. You go to school, you have to get all this, education, and most teachers are in debt by the time they get out, because they have to go to college for this and that. You get out and you make absolutely no money whatsoever. This is something they need to look at, because you don't have very many people going into education anymore. And so as a result, a lot of the teachers that they hire now aren't so-called certified. And so for a lot of people, they feel like this is a disadvantage. And so you got a lot of charter schools popping up, a lot of, people forming homeschool, I guess coalitions, you can call them, homeschool groups. I think it's a good time, actually. A lot of people don't agree, but I think it's actually a great time. Yesterday, Chief did, on the Chief Speaks show, he broke down a Pataki. And I was reading some of the comments on the videos, and everybody always loves, like, when he shares the stories and breaks the stories down. And I just thought, if the adults like it so much, just think about how much your children will like them. If you've never read a lot of African literature, you ought to start, pick up some of those books, stories about, Japa and all these different characters. We mentioned several titles actually here on the show. Was it Forest of a Thousand Demons? So many different ones. I have several books, Yoruba Trickster Tales. And, it's interesting because some of these books I had no knowledge of, when I purchased them. I just used to go to, like, libraries and book sales years and years ago. And people were almost like giving away books. You could get books for like a nickel or something like that. And I would just pick up anything I saw that had to do with philosophy, religion, anything African. I'd snatch it up quick and just put it on my shelf, never knowing, what it was actually about. But I found it interesting that once I started the Under Spiritual Training, I was like, oh, I looked on my shelf. I was like, oh, I have some of these books. So then I began to read them. But the books are so good. African literature is so adventurous and so good. It's very, like, I think Chief compared it to like Grimm's fairy tales before. You have all of these energies that are talked about, gnomes and fairies, and all these different energies. And this is something that you can share with your children. They love stories like that, where everything is so magical. But even more than that, it's not that you're teaching them something that's like a fairy tale. Like, these energies actually exist within this culture, and you can learn about them, and you can learn how to work with them. So it kind of stirs up that magic within your child, so that they can, when they are educated to the point to where they can start doing rituals with you and everything, they don't see it as something completely separate or weird or strange, like Santa Claus or whatever. But that's one way to get your children involved, is to share some of those stories with them. This is how they got you, even with Christianity, I told you the Bible stories. You know what I mean? I was going through some books the other day, and I saw, I think it's called My Book of Bible Stories or something like that. It was a Jehovah's Witness book, big yellow book with red foil lettering on it. I'm not sure if you all know about that, but I remembered somebody gave me that book when I was younger, and I was just like, oh my gosh, wow. These are the stories that get you. You learn them so young, so early as a child. But this is something that you can do, with African culture, and include them in those stories. Read those, make those the bedtime stories and the stories that you teach from. Because as you know, even within African literature, every story always gives you not only does it give you a peek into the culture to help you understand the culture. You have the language. You'll start to pick up on a lot of the language and a lot of the meanings. And it also, again, just kind of opens you up to the culture and what goes on in the culture and what's accepted, what's not accepted. These are the things that you don't learn when you just kind of read about Orisha and things like that. You just get the, surface understanding of Orisha and everything. So those that information shared in those can help you get a deeper understanding. So, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, just about how to get your children involved and why it's important. So, I don't know, we talked about this the other day. We were discussing whether this Trump era, this next 4 years, is a time to panic, or is it really just a kind of a time of reformation and actually putting some action behind your words and getting some things going. I think it's that time. You know what I mean? And with this being a year of we were talking about the woman or the womb, I think it's a good start. You know what I mean? To kind of lay down the foundation for that magic to happen, or to start pulling the children into the culture and to start including them in things, and to get the to get the homestead in order. So I don't know. I think it's a good time. I'm not thinking it's a time of, oh gosh, what is Trump going to do to us? He's going to cut the insurance, and he's going to cut women's rights in the workplace, and can't get birth control, and all this other kind of these things that people are building up to. I don't think it's that time. I don't know, but even if it is, again, it's just a time of action. It's a time to get moving. The men, women are problem reporters, men are the problem solvers. So it's just a time for the women to become active or in the plans that the men have laid down. Even I talked about that earlier, about just the energy of the day and that vibration of 7. So it's just a marriage between the masculine and feminine. So now is the time to get that mission statement together, to put that plan down, to get everything activated, to start manifesting some things through that feminine energy. I don't think it's a time to be afraid or think that the world is about to end, or as BET put it, a time to be emotional or need a sympathetic outlet. I think this is a time to be active. All right, I'm going to take a quick pause. Again, the number to call in is 515-605-9862. We'll go to a couple commercials, and I'll be right back. Are you ready to take action and rise to the next stage of your evolution? Then monthly life coaching services at OsirisLife.com are just for you. Osiris Life does not just focus on spiritual development. We offer a holistic approach to helping you realize your goals and teach you the tools to overcome any barriers to your success. Services at Osiris Life are provided on a monthly basis and include, but are not limited to, spiritual consultations and one-on-one coaching, instructionals via podcasts and videos, life mapping and goal tracking, anonymity, spiritual work done on your behalf, and there are 3 package levels to choose from. Take the steps to get your life on track and flourishing by purchasing a subscription package today at osirislife.com. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Community Radio. Again, I'm your host, Kim, and we are testing out some new hours here. We've been going, we started at 7, so from now on, Mondays and Fridays will actually be from 7 to 9, just to go over some of the new hours for those of you listening. On Tuesday and Thursday, we'll still do the 1 to 3 p.m. show, and on Wednesday, we'll be airing from 9 until 11. So it'll give you all a chance, those of you who can't necessarily call in on, Tuesdays and Thursdays anymore when we're kind of in the middle of the day. You have a chance to call in now. So before the songs, and excuse me, but this is where I am, the location. We've got, the kids are getting ready to go to school, so you may hear a lot of background noise. But before we left, we were just talking about a few things. We talked a little bit about astrology and numerology and some good herbs to work with today. Good herbs and oils. Today is Ojo Ajay. So it's a good time for manifesting some money or dealing with financial things. We talked about the Women's March, Trump's first day in office. We talked about some things going on with Uber and BET and TV One not airing the inauguration or using Election Day to reminisce on Obama's time in office instead of dealing with what's going on at the present. Excuse me, had to get some coffee there. This is something that Chief has talked about before about just how some people kind of, some groups of people just kind of can't seem to be current or be involved in what's going on currently and what's going on in the world, or just to evolve a bit. And honestly, I don't know why so many people are so sad to see the Obamas go, because if we look at it, there were a lot of things as far as African Americans were concerned that did not get accomplished or that were not even addressed during that time. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that that group of people chose to kind of remove themselves from what's going on. And the reason I say that is because any other time they are a part of that culture. So I'm not speaking about Black people who have removed themselves from American culture altogether, because it doesn't matter who's in office. If you ask any of the people like Hasidic Jews or Amish or people who have their own culture and who are going to operate a certain way no matter who's in office. So I'm not speaking about those people, but I'm speaking about African Americans who choose to be a part of American culture and who have investments in that culture, took this time to just kind of be emotional and stick their head in the sand just because, they feel like now that Trump is in office, everybody is doomed, And so instead of talking about the inauguration or even dealing with the inauguration, they showed a movie, Love Don't Cost a Thing, a teen movie at that. So not only are they, not even discussing the issues, or if even if they didn't air it, they chose to entertain the adult audience and anybody else who was watching with a teen movie, to kind of put you to sleep. Let's just laugh and feel good and not discuss what's going on with us right now, And so after that, I kind of segued into an article about this new movement that the younger generation has started, this million, let me get it right, Million Hoodies movement for justice. Excuse me again. And this is something that they started kind of on the back of Trayvon Martin being shot and killed. And so they've transformed it into a movement just about, and I'll read their points: campaigns to push back the anti-Black racism and the criminalization of our communities, whoever that is. I don't know who our is. They developed the leadership of students and young people to build local power to transform our communities from violence and criminalization. And they educate members and the public on critical issues facing our communities. So again, we've talked about this before in several shows. Who the we and our and us, who are those people, and what is the community? A community is self-sustaining. So I don't know who our and we are, I don't know who they're speaking of when they say that. But it led me into talking just about including your children and grabbing up your children into your own culture, and how important that is that you grab them. We've kind of moved into this age now where, a lot of times people are working so much and, working 40 plus hours. A lot of our kids get shipped off and schlepped off to daycare and after school care, and just kind of get left by the wayside because everybody's working so much. And so when things happen, such as, school shutting down and all these different school closings and things like that, or if they're taking something out of the curriculum that you feel like should stay, then we want to protest and do all these things. But again, I've always said, I think this is a good time to invest in your children. You come up with your children's curriculum. Start a neighborhood school, homeschool group. You can gather some people up in your city, to kind of get a few people together to homeschool your children. I think this is just a really good time. I know recently here, where in the state of Arkansas, this just passed last year. I just found out that to homeschool your children, you no longer have to follow state curriculum where they have to be tested at certain times and everything, because that was the law before. Even if you homeschool them, you still have to teach them the same curriculum that was going on in public schools. So that's no longer the case. You can teach them whatever you want to teach them. And so I feel like this is just a really good time to include your children on your culture and what your mission is as a family, or what you plan to do. And I think everything in the country is moving that way, because no one is really, you have school closings all across the United States. You also have fewer people going into the education field in college. Everybody's starting to kind of figure out that, hey, I really don't need to go to college to make money. There are other ways I could be making money. And so you don't have people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars on education, a degree in education, to get out and only make $30,000-$40,000 a year, however much it is. They figured out it's just not worth it. You'll be broke for the rest of your life. And then dealing with children who aren't necessarily there to learn, but the parents just kind of drop them off there because they need a babysitter. So I just think it's a time where we can start to become more responsible as adults and get more involved in our children's education. I'm going to go to a call real quick. I think this is Brother Anwar. Greetings. Peace, Anwar. How are you? Uh-oh. Hang on just a second. I can't hear you. Let me see what's going on here. I can't hear.
I was on mute. I was on mute. I was on mute.
Okay. All right. I got you.
I'm using an Apple Mac headset on my Android phone, so I don't know if that works well.
Okay.
Is the headset working? Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Okay,
yes, I can hear.
All right. Good rising, man. It's Monday.
Good rising.
It's Monday. What'd you say?
Mm-hmm.
Ocho Aj.
Ojo Aj. Mm-hmm.
Ojo Aj. And it's funny, like I've been listening to since the beginning of the show. I went to do my morning workout, and you mentioned the moon and the sun rising. The sun's in Aquarius and the moon's in Sagittarius. Those are my opposites.
Oh,
my
really?
Moon sign is Aquarius. Yeah, my moon sign is Aquarius and my sun sign is Sagittarius.
Okay.
It's cool, man. It's cool Cool trick. but yeah, man, I'm amped up. I'm ready for the day. I hope everybody else that's listening is, and I wish well for everyone that's part of the community and that's listening to the show. And I just wanted to talk about, give a statement or have a conversation about what you said about everybody's emotional response to, or BET's emotional response and to Trump being in office. If you take a minute to reflect back where you were this time of year, last January 2016, 23rd day. If you think about it, what were you doing? Were you still getting up, getting ready to go to work? What were you doing? Like, really, where was your focus at? Now, I understand that navigation is going to get a little bit not clear right now at the moment because it's all new, and people always have a fear for or change. So, sometimes you got to let the current flow. And it's funny. Yesterday, was in town. I'm talking about, it was so windy over here. It was crazy. She was blowing. I had all the windows open to let her blow through the house. It was great. And one of the things we got to look at is that, with this change that's going in, the emotional response, when you step into that emotional arena of feelings and thoughts and where you're going, who's leading you? Are you leading yourself, or is the social media or social propaganda leading you? And I just feel like, if everybody gets in tune with themselves and what they need to do for their families and for their growth, I believe you can navigate through this, even though the path looks a little hazy. Get into your Ogun, get into your clearing the path, and cut some shrubs, man. Make some roadways, make some pathways, and make sure that you do your reading. The one thing you were stating about the stuff that he was supposed to do in office, I don't know if you said that, but this is something I was thinking, is that when he first got into office, he signed 2 bills. He signed one bill halting the funding, or not really the funding, but the legislation that was set in place for the healthcare. But this is legislation that was set in place, part of the healthcare plan, which makes business owners and personal people responsible of paying a tax if they don't have healthcare. And he halted that system. Now, if you're familiar with it, is that the IRS cannot legally collect on those fines. They can only hold you for 1 year. And what they did, if you didn't pay that, they took it out of your income tax check if you received the income tax return. And after 1 year, and because I was reading up on this, after 1 year, they can't press you for the fine for the following year. So that's one of the things that he halted. He halted the fact that now, when you file your taxes this year, you're not responsible on paying that tax. That tax is not, that fine is not. You're not responsible for paying that tax or the fine. It's a fine. It's not a tax. The IRS only collects taxes. They don't collect fines. The only time they collect the fine is once they send it to the court, and they send you an actual citation for the fine.
So is it up to the states then? Is it up to the states?
What is up to
collect on those fines, or to collect on that if you didn't, whatever it is?
You gotta remember, people got to remember the difference between federal and state. That Affordable Care Act is a federal act. It wasn't a state act. A lot of the states, believe it or not, a lot of the states, when the act got passed, a lot of those states kind of did not accept the plan, because with the plan, the states received additional money from the federal government to be participants in that plan. So a lot of I don't know how many states, but there was a few states that didn't accept the cash from the federal government to play that game. So the thing is that that was one of the steps that he signed to stop that fine being levied on people. And once again, it was like one of those things that honestly the IRS couldn't force you to pay that, especially after 1 year after that tax year. They couldn't put another fine. They couldn't pass it off to the next year.
I know that.
But you know what they did? You know what they did was that like if you didn't pay the first year, the following year they hired the fine the following year, and it would just if you were getting returned, it would take it right out your return. But they couldn't like put a lien on your bank accounts and take that money out. So, but it was funny. I was reading into that, and then the second thing he signed was a healthcare, and then he signed. What was that? It's slipping my mind. That was one of the things. Healthcare and the second one was important too. The second one was even that's personally for individuals, that's personal. And the second one was it'll come back to me. But the place that we're at emotionally is really uncalled for. Really. Because I remember when Trump was being when he won the election, and I had experienced my son's mother. I went to go pick up my son from her, and she's running around the house and she's all stressed out. And I'm asking her what's wrong. She said, "You don't know? Trump won. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there's a couple things that I'm looking at. Because number one, my son's sitting on the couch like, okay, mom's stressed out.
Yeah, she's spazzing out.
I'm looking at this like this boy don't even know who Trump is.
Right.
He doesn't even know. He's familiar with Obama because Obama has been the president for last year. He doesn't know who Trump is. He doesn't know who Hillary Clinton is. He has no clue. But he's stressed out because his mom's stressed out.
Right.
So I had to literally clear his head in regards to the situation. I was like, look, that's nothing for you to be concerned about because I'm going to protect you from that stuff. So the thing is, that emotional rant that we might go into about some dude that's actually being very honest about his statements. The man is not the fact that he's lying too, but he lied a lot about a lot of things. But it's the fact that he's actually showing you he's actually showing you that he's a liar. He's actually showing you that look, this I don't like this. I don't know this, that, da da da. Then you're talking to him. He's talking to you at a fourth grade level. It's not like Obama where he had some kind of collegiate conversation with you, a little bit more research conversation. Now he's all up front, and it's people,
and
you know what? And the reality is too, when you're at war, you will want your enemy to be completely exposed. You don't want your enemy to be hidden, because that's the hard part. That's the hard part to find out. And now that's just spiritually. Your hardest part of yourself and your being is understanding your inner self, your dark side, your I don't want to say dark, but your inside. So with that, think about it just physically. Like, if you're going into a situation and these people are being very secretive around you, and you're in this situation, and it can be very hard for you to navigate. But if they're over there being completely open and they're telling you, look, this, and this is how it runs, this is how it is, you know what I'm saying? You can format and say, okay, well, if I got to go into this position and go play this, now I can look at all these little pawns I have to go through, pass the bishop, pass the king. Okay, I got you. Now I'm at my place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I honestly think, look, don't get emotional about it. Look at the game board, the board, and make your movements in respect to your family's growth, health, wealth, and prosperity.
Yeah. I know we say in the South a lot, we like our racism right out in the open. Show me. You know what I mean? It's like, that's always been like a unspoken, well, maybe it's not unspoken, but the difference between like the North and the South. Down South, it's right there. It's right in your face, and nobody's trying to hide it. We know, the racism or whatever is loud and clear. It's right there in the open. You know where not to go, where you should go. It's right there. Whereas you go to the North, things are a little bit more undercover, a little more sneaky. You kind of, it's not as overt as it is in the South. So when I look at it, I'm looking at it like that. I'm like, like you said, he speaks very plain, so everybody can understand. Right. Even if he doesn't know what he's talking about. I was listening to the inauguration, and everybody was just kind of joking about it on the news and different shows. They were saying he's going to wipe out all gang activity. He's going to wipe out this. We're going to wipe this out. We're going to wipe out terrorism. We're going to do this. And it's just interesting, the things that politicians say, and he's not even a politician, but rather a business person. But the thing, well, he is a politician. I got it. He has political ways about him, but the things that they say before they get in office, as opposed to once they get in, they realize, oh, okay, I don't really have the power I thought I had, or I really can't do all those things that I thought I could do. They kind of get overly ambitious just to get that vote. But yeah, he's right out front with it. There's no shame.
It's funny, I don't know if people have been on whitehouse.gov yet, but if you go on it, you'll see that the whole format has changed.
Wow. What do you mean?
You go on there, like if you were familiar with Obama's whitehouse.gov, it was situated with not so much ego. It was situated just the United States of America, and when you first go on the whitehouse.gov right now, you see rock star Donald Trump in the middle of the stage with his hand up with the crowd cheering, and and then you go into like some of the things that he did. Like initially, like they restructured the whole whitehouse.gov. There used to be links to like the Affordable Care Act, all that stuff. That's gone. Yeah. The LGBT statements that Obama came out with, that's gone. If you go through it, like it's literally a whole revised new website. It has nothing in similarities. The only thing similar is the presidential seal. Let's just say that. So, but at the same time, look, honestly, you gotta think about it like this because they're tricky. They're really sneaky. So he could be showing the face of America, right? He's playing a role in America. And he might be, and once again, the president is just a spokesman. So
right, it's just a figurehead.
It's just a figurehead. But he's showing the face of America that one particular culture would find to be uplifting, and strong. Okay? I always say one particular culture because that's
American culture. I mean, we could just say it. It's American culture. I don't think it's you know, we gotta realize that even Obama. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's a particular group in American culture.
Oh, okay. You're talking about
it's a subgroup.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're breaking up.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I can hear you.
You're here. You're here.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hey. But yeah, I think it's just a subgroup. As a predominant subgroup, well, I wouldn't say too predominant. I think it's a very strong subgroup that's been fighting to remain alive in American culture, and he represents that. You know what I'm saying? It's a dying subgroup, as you want to say it, but they're going to be they're more of the minority than the majority. So it is what it is. Once again, I would just say, look, he's showing you this. He might not be playing that role in the internal settings. So, but he's showing you this. So don't get emotional behind it. Just look at it in all angles.
Yeah, he's showing us, definitely. Let me go to another caller here. This is 797.
Good dawning.
797. Good dawning.
Good dawning.
Good dawning.
Good dawning, Sister Kim. Brother Anwar, good dawning.
You snuck in on us again.
What's going on? What's going on, big brother?
Hey, we're going on all right. Thank you very much. We're going on okay. Thank you. I just thought I wanted to say I just wanted to bless the show this dawning, and say thank you for everything that you're doing, for juggling the time so people who can't get the evenings can get the morning, who can't get the morning can get the late show.
Yeah.
So I think that's really considerate of you, and it shows how you're thinking about others apart from your own selves. Again, thinking about others. So I just really want to commend you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
No problem. It's lunchtime over here, and everything's okay. Everything's well over here. And I just really wanted to bless the show this morning, and wish everyone a wonderful day.
Thank you, Brother Byron. Thanks. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Good.
Okay.
So it's
Brother Anwar?
there, so that's good.
Brother Anwar?
I think he's got some issues going on with his headphones.
No. Yeah. It's the Apple headset against the Android. I'm telling you. I don't know if they're going to war right now. But yes, brother. How you doing?
I'm okay. Do you know what they say about that? Man to man is so unjust, Brother Anwar. You might need to get the Apple with the Apple or the Android with the Android.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I was trying to mix things up, man. Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to be listening. But you guys continue. I just thought I'd pop on and say good morning to you all, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
No problem. Bye.
Okay, cool.
Big brother from across the pond. I like that.
Yeah, that's good. that is lunchtime there, so we can catch Brother Byron a little bit earlier in the day now. And Brother Nahum, I know he's probably, I don't know if he's listening or not, but I know he's another UK listener. So we got a few people from the UK that chime in every now and then. So that's good. Again, we're just kind of trying out these new times to see, to try to get everybody in, to be able to comment or ask questions and everything that don't usually get to call in the middle of the day because of work and everything. So again, I'm just going to announce on Mondays and Fridays, we're going to be on from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're still going to keep the 1 to 3 slot. And on Wednesday, we're going to get you at 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be good too. We'll get everybody's off work. Maybe the kiddos are in bed by then. Dinner's been, everybody's had dinner and everything. So it should be a bit easier, for people to call in. So I'm looking forward to that show too, to see what's on the minds of everybody. I did just want to go back over because Brother Anwar brought it up. I was saying that the sun is in Aquarius, moon is Sagittarius, and so I was just saying that it's a good time for, to go deeper into abstract thought or analytical thought, deep spiritual thought, meditation, dream work. A good time for rituals. A good time for just money. Again, today is a money day in Yoruba culture. This is the financial day, Ojo Aje. So working with those energies of Olokun, Yemoja was playing Oshun song earlier. So again, like I was saying, in Yoruba, in the language, words can often mean many different things. So we have Aje, which is, and I'm not sure if I got the accent marks right for different meanings, but it can mean wealth and commerce, or money and commerce. It can mean, when we're speaking about the witches, and we're also speaking about, it's also an energy, like an Orisha, so to speak. So this is an energy that you can work with. And I was speaking about everybody, along with your other shrines that you have, everybody should have like a money shrine. That's one that we all need, that we all can. I don't think anybody would turn that one down. So that's an energy that you can work with. And Mondays are good days to do that. So some of the money herbs that are good would be like rue, cinnamon, peppermint, ginger, cloves. You can make oils with these and anoint your candles with them. All different types of things. I know I used to take like some rue water that I would make, and I would use that daily before I would go out, to work or wherever I was going, to amp up that energy, or just to kind of carry that energy with me throughout the day. So different things you can do, with herbs and oils. And that reminds me, make sure you sign up for those classes on seduluhouse.com on herbs, oils. There are rituals in those classes. There's instruction on how to choose herbs, how to make different types of oils, male and female herbs, how to kind of balance those energies. So there's a lot of good information in those classes. So yeah, it was just kind of, recapping everything. We're just talking about including your children in the culture. This really being a time where things are, Chief kind of spoke about it, about destruction, or things being completely kind of torn down. I feel like we are in that period of, reformation, where you have the opportunity to do that. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Things are just kind of being reset. And it kind of almost even tests you, like, okay, this is a period of time where now it's time to put those things into action. Sometimes we can be forced into making the changes that we need to make in our life. Because oftentimes, if we're comfortable, we don't make those changes. So sometimes you can be forced into them. Things can get so bad to where you're forced to pull together. You're forced to depend on each other more, for help. And that's always a good thing. But, when we're at that point where we have to be pushed, it can be quite uncomfortable. And, a lot of people don't like to, go through that. But we've had plenty of opportunities to kind of get it together. So now it's just time to put the work in, I was also going over the numerology for today, and today's the 23rd, so you get 1, 23, 20, 17, all adds up to 16. 1 and 6 is 7, and just that energy or vibration of the 7, and not to get yourself locked into astrology or numerology. One reason why I like to kind of explore those things, numerology, astrology, things like that, is to understand what energies are at work, kind of in the invisible realm, that can almost kind of help you stack the deck a little bit when it comes to your ritual work. So it can help amplify it a little bit. But I mean, you can do these rituals and things on any day you like, but when the energy is heightened, it seems to, this is a time where I feel like you can capitalize on it even more, to just get more into the vibration of everything that's going on. And we're actually in a waning cycle as far as the moon goes. So the moon is waning. We just had a full moon, I think, is on the 11th through the 12th. So we got a new moon coming up on the 27th. But usually during a waning moon is a time to shed things, a good time for shedding, to let go of a lot of things. So, I just kind of like to kind of put everything into perspective. What's going on with the sun? What's going on with the moon? What about the numerology of the time? And then, try to figure out, when is the best time to do certain things. I actually wanted to get into a little bit of magic and some things that magic and ritual kind of entails. And when I think about magic, I think of it as a technology. It's like a spiritual technology. So again, it's like, kind of being aware of different systems and different things going on can kind of help you stack the deck, for yourself. And again, Beyond New Spiritual Training Phase 1 kind of helps you do that. You study all different systems. You get into Kabbalah, you get into tarot, not tarot, you get different systems of divination. Even the second exercise in the group, you are exploring different mythologies and different systems. So it kind of wakes you up and gives you a more expanded awareness about everything, because these are just energies and you can work with any of them. You may be more inclined to work with, I don't know, a Hindu energy than a Yoruba energy, or maybe you want to combine them, so you can do several things. But I look at it as spiritual technology. A lot of times I see things in pictures. When I look at doing a ritual, I look at it as a way to kind of just reset your entire environment. You know what I mean? I can pull certain objects out of nature to kind of reset it and shift my reality a bit. And as we know, like the things that we choose for rituals are always symbolic. They're symbolic of something. So even you'll learn this also in Phase 1 training, how to make spiritual baths, what salt is, what sugar is, what, different things are. But it's like you can actually take certain things in nature to kind of shift your reality, or kind of shift your environment to put you in a place of rebalancing, you know what I mean, so that you can move forward. And so that's what I look at it as, like when I'm doing a ritual. And so I see it like in pictures. I remember, just even as a kid, and this is why it's so awesome to get kids involved into what you're doing, especially when it comes to rituals, is because they have such a vivid imagination. They're not as tainted as we are when it comes to trying to hold the thought, or just exploring thought. They can imagine so many more things than we can. And so, even when I was a kid, it's like, I love magic. What, new card tricks and, all these different things. And I think that's kind of a phase that a lot of people go through. But, at a certain point, I was like, these are like just tricks. I really want to learn how to make something happen. How do I do that? And so one of the things that I learned just throughout the years, and even, before I came into I knew, one of the techniques that you'll find out when you start working with any system is visualization and imagination is so crucial. It's so crucial. And one of the things that I had to work on the most, and this is where the meditation kind of comes in, the meditation class, is learning how to hold a thought. That's so hard for us to do. And this is something that you can kind of start to learn to do when you meditate. And it's like a lot of people have a hard time just holding on to one thought. And this is important when you get into ritual, because when you have to be focused on what it is you're doing and not let all these other thoughts and things come into play. That's one reason why when we do say our adoras and things, when we're in making offerings or whatever in a different language, is because it bypasses your conscious mind. Sometimes when we're speaking, English or whatever languages that you speak, even though we're saying the words, sometimes our mind often negates it at the same time. It's like, I want some money. Yeah, I need some money, or I need this, or I need that, but I'm not sure if I'm really going to get it. We have all these different thoughts that kind of creep in. Your conscious mind kind of slips in. So you say things in a different language, and it unlocks different things in your mind, and it also bypasses those anti-thoughts that may creep in. So one of the things with magic or with rituals is that visualization and imagination is a big part of it. That's why those vision boards are so important. Even, including your vision board on your altar is a good thing to do, so that you can actually help yourself to visualize what it is that you want. And one of the things that you can do, besides meditation, I'll give you this little technique, is try to work your way up to about 10 minutes of just focusing on one thought. And so one thing you can do is just take, any type of object, a cup or something, and you look at the cup, analyze it really good, look at the shape, the colors, everything, and then close your eyes and see if you can duplicate that image in your mind, and see if you can hold it for a long time. See how long you can actually hold that thought. And eventually, just do a little bit at a time, a few seconds at first, and then eventually just kind of work your way up to about 10 minutes. And you'll see it's really hard to do. It's kind of hard to do for adults because, like I said, we have so many other things that we are thinking about throughout the day. Oh, did I pay that bill? Oh, I got to pick the kids up. Oh, I forgot about this. I forgot about that. All sorts of thoughts start to creep in, and this is why meditation is so important. You'll start to learn how to even just kind of be unaware of your physical body during meditation. Sometimes when we start to meditate, all things start to bother us. We'll get an itch or a scratch, or we got to move, or I'm uncomfortable, or, something, or you'll get a twitch, or whatever it is. It's like it's so hard to just hold that focus. So meditation is a good way. Vision boards, sketching. A lot of us don't draw anymore. And coloring is another thing to kind of awaken that imagination. We used to color all the time as kids, but we don't really do it anymore. And I was watching TV once, and I saw this commercial where now they have these adult coloring books. I'm not sure if you've all seen these adult coloring books where they sell you the coloring book and like maybe a set of markers or something. It's like $20. And I was just thinking to myself, $20 for a coloring book? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? But apparently they are selling because I've seen them everywhere. But something like sketching or coloring is really good to do, just to kind of awaken that imagination again. Because so often, again, just as adults, we don't take the time to just dream or, just kind of be unloosed in our thoughts. So when you do this, like I was saying, take an object, look at it for a few seconds, and then close your eyes and see how long you can actually hold that thought. Make sure when you're doing it, make sure you document your experience. If it's the first day, you could only hold it maybe for 10 seconds. Maybe the second day, you might be able to do it a little bit longer. Just kind of document the thoughts that came up, why you couldn't hold it, any type of disturbances or anything. And this is where your grimoire, kind of comes into play. And a grimoire is just really almost like a a lab notebook of everything that you do. So when you do rituals, you might note what you use, what didn't work, what happened, what didn't happen. So you have to kind of start being like this little scientist when it comes to things like this. So keeping a grimoire is so important. And even I know, like I've seen a lot of different teachers that teach things from older grimoires. Maybe like the OTO or what is it, Abramelin, and all these other different mages or whatever throughout the years who left grimoires, or people say, oh, they're rediscovered, this is new or whatever. And like Chief has said, most of the time when you get your hands on the book, it's definitely not new, and probably most of the things in the book didn't work, which is why it's public now. It probably doesn't even work anymore. But you, as that, magical, scientist, or as that magician, you can try it and see, tweak some things and see what works and see what doesn't work. You can do that. You can find, these grimoires and things online everywhere. But it's good to just kind of try it out and combine some things, or maybe rearrange some things. But it is important to have your own grimoire, to kind of document these things. And you can find those online as well. I know I have a huge one that I invested in, and that's just because I wanted to be able to pass this down to my daughter, or to make sure it stays within the family so that someone else can, use it or whatever. But it's very important that you document the things that you're doing. Again, going back to the whole imagination thing, I'll share an experience that I had. I remember a long time ago when I first got into it, I was working with the chakras, and a friend of mine, we were going through these different exercises. And one of the things that you'll hear all the time, like in the New Age community, or when you just start to get into this and you talk about healing and working with chakras and stuff, is they'll tell you to imagine like a golden ball of light, entering through your crown, going to the root, or vice versa, going through all these chakras. And again, it was so hard. It was like in the beginning, I could imagine this golden ball, but it was like to actually hold the thought long enough to travel through all these energy centers was difficult for me. And so it was something that I had to work on. And then, like I said earlier, as I started to work more and more with different systems, every time before you would start a ritual, you had to get yourself in sort of this mental space before you could start to actually do the work. And so I noticed that was a commonality. So of course, that's when I started to get into meditation more. So now it doesn't take as long to get into that space that you need to go to before you get ready to do a ritual. This is one of the reasons why we include so many elements in ritual, like say, for instance, even in this particular culture, in Yoruba culture, you have adores that you say. Most of the time, those adores are sang. You're supposed to sing them, and there's a reason for that. It adds energy to that ashe. It helps build that up. You dance. There are certain clothes you may wear. Certain sounds, or just colors and everything. You include everything. And that's why those basic courses are so important too on Sedulu House. When we talk about colors of candles, what's the significance behind the color, or does it matter? Herbs, oils, meditation, all these different things. It's like all of this goes into your ritual. We can't skip over the language. We can't skip over certain things, or music, or trying to find that song. We have to sing these things and really make it a part of who you are. It doesn't have to sound a certain way. Earlier I played an Oshun song, and as I was listening, I noticed how just the difference in culture, how it sounds from culture to culture, because you'll hear something maybe in the Santeria tradition. It sounds completely different from the Yoruba tradition, when they're singing or working with certain energies. So for me, it was like anytime I listen to these songs, I listen to the way they pronounce certain words. I noticed, like, even in that particular song, they would say Moyuba instead of Mojuba. So again, we're talking about sound vibration. Even when we include veves, what is a veve, or how do you use these sigils or sigils? You can do the same thing with your vision board. That's what that's for. Create your own sigil with your name, or with whatever it is you're trying to work towards, and you place certain pictures around that sigil, and that helps to unlock certain chambers in your mind, to bypass certain things that your conscious mind would try to infiltrate. So I know with my vision board, one of the things that I do is, include everything, that you want, but maybe put a sigil like right in the middle of it. And again, you stare at that vision board for a few minutes or for some seconds or whatever, and then close your eyes and try to recreate the image in your mind. And you just kind of sit with it. You know what I mean? And of course, you can incorporate other things along with that, to actually do some spiritual work. But these are just a few things that you can do. So again, imagination, visualization is so important. And the grimoire. Make sure you get a book. That's one thing. You'll find yourself having things written down on slips of paper or different notebooks all over the place, until you finally say, you know what, I need to get just one book and put this stuff in a book. And so these are just some steps in, I think, like mental training. If you notice, in Sadulu House, she first started out with the Orisha, and that was of course, the free course. But now, for the past few years, like, he's kind of shifted into a more psychological approach, trying to understand the mind and how it works, and just kind of cleaning up some of those old habits and things, or just all that subconscious stuff that we've kind of pushed down and have kind of hidden within ourselves for so long, because those things will come out when you're doing this type of work. So it's like this, I guess you'd call it like magical mental training, how, it's just the science of how to control and master your own thoughts. So, yeah, that's one exercise I want everybody to try. Put some objects in front of you. I don't know, a fork, a pencil, some matches or something. And fix your eyes on those objects for a while. And you try to remember their shapes and colors and everything, that if it's something written on them, try to remember everything exactly as it is. And then close your eyes and try to remember, try to imagine each object, as the same way it's laid out, in the same way it looks. Try to remember every little detail. And just record your findings and try it. Again, it may be difficult in the beginning, but eventually you'll start to see yourself to work up longer periods of times in doing this. And I think that's something that can really kind of amp up your rituals and things. Yeah. So we've got about 8 minutes left in the show. If you have a question or comment, make sure you press the number 1 and I'll bring you in. The number is 515-605-9862. And again, I know some of you may not have been aware that we were changing up the hours this soon, but we are going to try these hours out to give you all time, those people a chance to call in who ordinarily couldn't come in. So I guess in closing, I'll go ahead and just make some quick announcements. Again, if you would like to be a part of the men's call or the women's call, make sure you go to onewlifeglobal.org. to get registered. All you have to do is just sign up. Doesn't cost anything. We've got the Anu Phase 1 challenge going on to kind of help you all get through the training. And there will be a celebration in June where everybody will finally get a chance to meet and step out from behind some of these avatars. And it'll put you in a position where you can volunteer and help out a bit more with Anu Nation and some of the things that are going on. So I know some people have been in the class for years and have, kind of slowly, you're slowly working your way through it. It's a chance for you to kind of move together as a community through some of these exercises and share your experiences and everything. And we actually started this challenge in January. We are now fine-tuning some things, so I think we're going to actually push it back a couple of strongs to allow everybody time to get the information that they need to actually join the challenge and just organize it a little bit better. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll be sending out a newsletter and some more information about the Phase 1 training. Also, again, classes and things are on seduluhouse.com. There are classes, rituals, tons of free information. All of our old shows, the Enlightenment and Transformation shows from Mastermind Mondays, Chief Speaks, Anua Safo, Thunderground Thursday, Foundational Friday. All of those shows are on our Enlightenment and Transformation channel and also on Anu Nation on our YouTube channels. And you can still go to Blog Talk Radio to find those old shows as well. So if you are in the class, I really would recommend that you go back and just start with the first one, and just kind of work your way through them to kind of help you through the class and to help you understand, just the culture of Anu and some of the things, try to understand some of the language maybe that Chief uses and some of the things that about to give you more in-depth understanding of those things. So Anu Nation, Enlightenment and Transformation.com, AnuNation.org, AnuLifeGlobal.org, or you can download the app. So the app has all of those things on it and more, and you can also chat with other people who have downloaded the app as well. Everything your classes can be viewed there. You can buy books. That's another thing that is encouraged, and you'll need those books actually, especially Grasping the Root of Divine Power, to get through the training. And Shrine and Altar, of course, is another staple that you'll need. So make sure you check those titles out. And I think that is it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything I'm leaving out, but stay tuned. And for those of you who are sending in questions sometimes to Anu Nation at questions at AnuNation.org, make sure that you don't have the address blocked, because sometimes we'll respond to your questions, but you'll have it blocked and it gets sent back to us. So we can't always, give you a personal phone call back. And so email is the easiest way to do it, but make sure that you don't have like a spam blocker or something like that on to where we can't get to you. Okay. Let's see. What else? Yeah. Questions at AnuNation.org if you have a question. And I guess that will conclude the show for this dawning. Tomorrow we'll be back with another segment of Community Radio. And remember, the hours have changed. So make sure you pay attention to Sedulu House on Facebook, my channel, Serious Bitch on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The announcements will go out that way. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so we'll be back at the regular time, and that's 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday night, of course, will be live in the afternoon. So for those of you who called in today, Brother Anwar, Brother Byron, I do see we have other callers on the line. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. And we'll be back tomorrow, remember, from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. All right? So everybody enjoy your day. I will that your day goes well and that you are productive and moving forward in your endeavors today. So again, peace and enjoy your day.